They cut my power? Fine. I'll cut theirs. The HOA president appeared at my private gate with a lawsuit threat and ice in her eyes. Hand over your security codes, keep this gate unlocked, and surrender control of your property for community safety. You have 14 days. When I refused, she declared war. Lawsuits. False code violations costing thousands. She got me on local news as a dangerous neighbor blocking emergency access. Complete lies believed by everyone. I was drowning in legal fees and hate mail, watching my mountain sanctuary become a battlefield. But Margaret made one fatal mistake. Those power lines feeding her 50 luxury homes? They crossed my land on a utility easement she'd violated for 20 years. I had the paperwork. I had the law. One phone call later, her entire development went dark. What happened next shocked the whole county. Stay until the end to see how I legally took down an HOA from my living room. Drop a comment with your location. I want to see how far this story travels across the map. I'm standing on my deck, coffee in hand, watching the sunrise bleed gold across the mountains. Lake Whisper Valley spreads out below me like a postcard. Pine forests so green they hurt to look at. Crystal water reflecting the sky. Morning mist crawling across meadows like something alive. This is mine. 15 years I've lived here. 15 years before any of them showed up with their McMansions and their luxury SUVs. Back when this was wild country. Just a handful of cabins. People who understood what it meant to live in the mountains. My property sits at the valley's only access point. The private road cuts through my land, leading up to the development they built 5 years ago. The easement agreement was simple, crystal clear. They could use the road. I controlled the gate, my lock, my property line, my security. Nobody questioned it. Nobody had a problem. Until she arrived. Margaret Keene. I see her Range Rover coming down the mountain, and my stomach tightens. Something about the way she drives, aggressive, entitled, like the road owes her something. She doesn't pull up to my house. Doesn't knock. Just parks at the gate and stands there, arms crossed. Designer sunglasses reflecting the morning sun. Waiting for me to notice her. I watch her through the window for a full minute. She doesn't move. Just stands there like a statue made of impatience. Finally, I walk down. Gravel crunching under my boots. Birds going quiet like they sense trouble coming. We need to talk about gate access. Her voice is sharp. No greeting. No pleasantries. This isn't a conversation. It's a demand. What about it? I keep my tone neutral. The HOA board voted last night. We're requiring you to provide all gate codes to the board members. And we need it kept unlocked during daylight hours. For emergency access. The words hit me like a punch. That's not happening, I say quietly. Her smile doesn't reach her eyes. It's a safety issue. What if there's a fire? What if someone has a medical emergency? Emergency services have the fire department Knoxbox code at the main road. Not good enough. She takes off her sunglasses. Her eyes are cold, calculating. This is a community now, not your private kingdom. The gate creates a dangerous bottleneck for 50 families. The gate exists because this is my property, I say. My hands are starting to shake. The easement gives you road access. It doesn't give you control over my security. We'll see what our attorney says about that. She puts her sunglasses back on. You're being unreasonable. Selfish. Putting your paranoia ahead of community safety. I'm protecting my property rights. You have 1 week to comply voluntarily. After that, this becomes a legal matter. She climbs into her Range Rover. $50,000 vehicle. Designer clothes. That confidence that comes from never being told no. The engine roars. Gravel spits from under her tires. I stand there watching her drive away, my heart hammering against my ribs. 1 week. The mountains are still beautiful. The lake still sparkles. But something fundamental just changed. War was just declared on my doorstep. I just don't know how bad it's going to get. 3 days later, I'm splitting firewood when I hear the mail truck. I don't think anything of it. Bills. Junk mail. The usual. Then I see the certified letter envelope. My hands are shaking as I sign for it. The mail carrier won't meet my eyes. Like he knows. Like everyone already knows what's coming. I rip it open standing right there in my driveway. Legal letterhead. HOA attorney. Denver firm. The words blur together at first. Then they snap into focus with crystal clarity. They're demanding 24/7 gate access. Claiming emergency vehicle necessity and unreasonable impediment to community welfare. They want me to install a Knox box system at my expense, that gives them access anytime they want. My property, my gate, their control. The letter is cold, professional, threatening without being explicit. But the message is clear: comply or be destroyed. 14 days to respond. I call Tom Henderson immediately. My lawyer, old friend, practiced property law in these mountains for 30 years. If anyone can fix this, it's him. Tom, I need you to look at something. Now. What's wrong? He hears the panic in my voice. I read him the letter. Every word. Every legal threat buried in polite language. Long pause. Too long. Jake, send me everything. Your original easement agreement. Their HOA bylaws. This letter. Don't respond to anything yet. Can they actually do this? Another pause. Let me research it. Don't talk to them. Don't talk to any HOA members. Radio silence until I get back to you. He hangs up. I stand in my kitchen, letter trembling in my hands. And for the first time in 15 years, I feel unsafe in my own home. That night, I can't sleep. I walk my property line with a flashlight at 2 a.m., checking the fence, the gate mechanism, the no trespassing signs. Everything I built, everything I maintained, everything I paid for. The mountains loom black against the stars. The lake is invisible in the darkness. But I can hear it. Water lapping against the shore. The same sound I've fallen asleep to for 15 years. What if I lose this? Morning comes too fast. I'm on my second cup of coffee, watching the sunrise again, trying to pretend everything's normal. Then I see them. Margaret. Two other people I don't recognize. HOA board members probably. They're at my gate with a camera, a tablet, a measuring tape. Taking pictures. Measurements. Notes. I'm down there in 30 seconds, pulse hammering. What are you doing? Margaret doesn't even look up. Documenting the obstruction. For the lawsuit. Lawsuit. The word comes out strangled. When you refuse to comply, and we both know you will, we're suing for easement interference. This gate represents a clear and present danger to community safety. She finally looks at me. What if there's a fire, Jake? What if someone has a heart attack up there and dies because you're playing property rights warrior? There's already emergency access. Not according to our safety consultant. She gestures to one of the men with her. This is Frank Morrison, 20 years in fire safety. He's prepared a report concluding that your gate creates an unacceptable response time delay. The man nods, doesn't smile. Just another hired weapon. You have 12 days left, Margaret says. Choose wisely. This can be easy, or this can destroy you. Your choice. They walk back to their vehicles. 3 of them. United. Organized. Armed with lawyers and consultants and money. I'm alone with a property line and a dying phone battery. I call Tom again. Voicemail. 12 days. How do you fight people who've already decided you're the villain? The Facebook posts start that afternoon. I don't even have Facebook, but Sarah, my neighbor 2 valleys over, one of the old-timers who remembers before the HOA, calls me. Jake, you need to see this. It's bad. She screenshots the posts and texts them to me. Dangerous resident blocking emergency access to 50 families. Neighbor refuses to comply with basic safety measures. Why does one person get to put entire community at risk? The comments are worse. People I've never met, attacking me, calling me selfish, paranoid, a threat. Margaret's orchestrating it perfectly. Every post has the same language, same talking points, same manufactured urgency. My phone starts ringing. Neighbors I've known for years. Hey Jake, what's going on with this gate thing? Their voices are careful, doubtful. Like maybe Margaret's right. Like maybe I am being unreasonable. I try explaining. The easement. My property rights. The fact that emergency services already have access codes. But the poison's already in the water. I don't know, man. Seems like a lot of drama over a gate. Can't you just give them a code? For safety. 50 families, Jake. Kids. Elderly people. Is this really the hill you want to die on? Each call chips away at me. By evening, I'm doubting myself. Am I wrong? Am I being selfish? No. This is my property. My rights. The doorbell rings. I open it to find a TV camera in my face. Local news. Reporter with perfect hair and a microphone. Camera already rolling before I can process what's happening. Sir, concerned residents say you're blocking emergency access to 50 families. Do you feel any responsibility if someone dies because of your gate? That's not true. So the HOA president is lying? No, I'm saying the situation is more complicated. Yes or no? Will you give emergency services access to your gate? They already have access. The fire department has. Thank you for your time. They're gone before I can explain. Before I can tell the real story. That night, I watched myself on the news. They edited it perfectly. I looked defensive, angry, unreasonable. Mountain property dispute raises safety concerns. Local resident refuses emergency access, citing property rights. More at 11. They made me the villain in 30 seconds. My email inbox explodes. Strangers from across the county. Hate mail. Threats. People like you are what's wrong with America. Hope you can live with yourself when someone dies. Selfish prick. I sit in my dark house, curtains closed, phone buzzing with notifications. Margaret turned an entire community against me in 72 hours. And I'm running out of time. Tom still hasn't called back with answers. 9 days left. The mountains outside my window look like prison walls now. What if I actually lose everything? Tom finally calls. Day 6. His voice is grave. Jake, we need to talk. In person. He drives up that afternoon. We sit at my kitchen table. He spreads documents across the wood. We have a problem. My stomach drops. Their HOA bylaws have a section about community safety infrastructure. It's vague, deliberately vague. But a sympathetic judge could interpret your gate as falling under HOA jurisdiction for safety purposes. But it's my property. I know. But the original easement language is 40 years old, written before modern HOAs existed out here. The term reasonable access appears 6 times. Margaret's lawyer is going to argue that reasonable access includes emergency response time, that your locked gate creates unreasonable delay. That's insane. That's lawyering. Tom looks exhausted. Here's the reality. This goes to court, it's a coin flip. Could go either way. And it'll cost you minimum $50,000 in legal fees. Probably more. The number hits me like a hammer. $50,000. I don't have $50,000. There's something else. Tom hesitates. Margaret's husband, Robert Keene. He's a real estate developer. Big player. Connected at the county level. I'm hearing rumors about planning and zoning getting involved. What kind of rumors? The kind where suddenly your property gets a lot of official scrutiny. Code enforcement. Environmental compliance. Permit reviews for structures built years ago. My hands clench into fists. That's corruption. That's how power works in small counties, Jake. I'm sorry. He leaves. I sit alone as the sun sets, painting my mountains in blood-red light. That's when the county inspector arrives. Code enforcement. Clipboard. Official county truck. Received complaints about unpermitted structures. Need to do an inspection. What complaints? He doesn't answer. Just walks my property for 2 hours. Taking photos. Making notes. Measuring things that were approved and inspected years ago. My shed. My deck. My storage area. Everything. When he's done, he hands me a violation notice. Shed is 6 inches too close to the property line. Deck railing is non-compliant with current code, even though it passed inspection when I built it 5 years ago. Storage area needs additional permits. $3,000 in fines. 30 days to fix everything. Who filed the complaints? I ask. He won't say. Doesn't have to. We both know. Margaret is using the entire system as a weapon. Every tool. Every connection. Every angle. And I'm bleeding. Financially. Emotionally. Legally. I have 8 days left on her ultimatum. Tom says fighting could bankrupt me. The code violations are draining my savings. The community hates me. The news painted me as a villain. I stand at my gate that night, hand on the cold metal, and feel the walls closing in. How do you fight someone who controls everything? How do you win when the entire system is weaponized against you? The lake is black glass below. The mountains are shadows against stars. This is my home, my sanctuary, my life, and it's slipping through my fingers. I need a plan, something they're not expecting, some angle they haven't considered. But what? What do I have that they don't? I look at the gate, the fence, the road disappearing into my property. The road. Something clicks in my mind. Faint. Distant. The road isn't just access to the HOA. It's access to something else too. What was it? I rack my brain. Original development plans. Utility agreements. Construction permits from 20 years ago. Then it hits me. The power lines. The power lines to the entire development run through my property. Underground conduit. Utility easement. Installed when they built the HOA. An easement I granted. That crosses my land. That requires maintenance access. My pulse quickens. I run inside. Start pulling files. Old documents. County records. There's something here. I know it. Something Margaret doesn't know she should be afraid of. I just have to find it. Day 7. I haven't slept in 48 hours. Coffee and adrenaline are the only things keeping me vertical. Every sound makes me jump. Is it Margaret? Another inspector? A process server with a lawsuit? I'm checking the gate lock, again, when I see them. Tire tracks. Fresh. Deep. Leading off the main road onto the embankment next to my fence. Through the protected wetland area I spent years restoring. Someone tried to drive around my gate. My vision goes red. I follow the tracks. They cut through wildflowers. Native grasses I planted. Crushed vegetation that took 5 years to establish. Ripped through mud, spraying it across rocks, destroying everything. The tracks stop at my fence where they realized they couldn't break through. Then reverse, tearing up even more ground. Range Rover tire treads. Wide. Aggressive. Expensive. I'd recognize them anywhere. Margaret tried to bypass my gate entirely. When she couldn't, she just destroyed protected wetland out of pure spite. Something inside me snaps. I've been playing defense this entire time. Reacting. Explaining. Defending. Apologizing for rights I legally own. No more. I walk back to my house. Pull out my laptop. Start researching with a focus I haven't felt in days. Not property law this time. Something different. Utility easements. Power line access. Infrastructure maintenance requirements. County codes. State regulations. I read for hours. Taking notes. Cross-referencing documents. Building something in my mind. That road Margaret wants to control? The power lines to her entire 50-home development run through my property. Underground conduit installed 20 years ago. The utility company needed access. They negotiated an easement. Standard procedure. But here's what makes my hands shake with excitement. The easement agreement required someone to maintain the road. Not just for HOA use. For utility maintenance vehicles. I pull the original documents from county records. Tom helped me get copies weeks ago, but I hadn't studied them carefully. There it is. Page 7. Section 4.2. Easement holder agrees to maintain access road in perpetuity to county standards for utility maintenance vehicle access, including proper drainage, grading, and load capacity. Easement holder. That's the HOA. They're supposed to maintain my road. For 20 years, they've ignored this requirement completely. The road has potholes, erosion, failed drainage, crumbling shoulders. I've been fixing it myself because I live here and need it functional. But legally, it's their responsibility. Better yet, Section 4.5. If access road becomes impassable or unsafe for utility maintenance vehicles, power company reserves right to suspend service until repairs completed. I sit back, mind racing so fast I feel dizzy. Margaret wants my gate open for emergency access? Fine. Let's talk about actual emergencies. Like what happens when 50 luxury homes lose power because the HOA violated their maintenance agreement for 2 decades. I grab my phone. Call the power company. My hands are shaking so hard I almost drop it. Customer service, how can I help you? I need to speak to your legal compliance division. Regarding utility easement violations on my property. Transfer. Hold music. My heart is hammering. Compliance, this is Robert. I need to report a safety concern. The access road required for power line maintenance on my property is in violation of county standards. Severe erosion. Drainage failure. Structural deficiency. It's not safe for your maintenance vehicles. His tone shifts immediately. Interested. Alert. Can you provide documentation? I can provide 20 years of documentation. Photos. County inspection reports. Engineering assessments. What's the property address? I give it to him. He types. I hear keyboard clicks. Oh, yeah. Whisper Valley HOA development. I see the easement agreement here in our system. The HOA hasn't maintained that road once in 20 years. They've completely ignored their legal obligation. More typing. Sir, if what you're saying is accurate, this is a serious violation. We'll need to send an inspector. When? This week. I'll flag it as priority. If the access road doesn't meet code, we're required to take action. What kind of action? Service suspension until compliance is achieved. We can't risk our maintenance vehicles or crews on unsafe infrastructure. I hang up, stand there in my kitchen, staring at the mountains through my window. Margaret thinks she's the only one who can weaponize the system. She's about to learn different. The countdown is on. And this time, I'm not the one running out of time. Thursday morning, the power company truck arrives at 9 a.m. sharp. Young inspector, maybe 30, serious face, company logo on his shirt, clipboard and camera in hand. I meet him at the gate. Thanks for coming. Just doing my job. Show me the access road. We walk it together. He takes measurements. Photos. Tests the drainage by pouring water and watching it pool instead of run off. Checks the surface integrity. Measures the width. Takes coarse samples of the gravel base. 90 minutes. He doesn't say much. Just works methodically. Professional. Finally, he straightens up. Looks at me. This is really bad. How bad? County code requires specific standards for utility maintenance vehicle access. Drainage, grading, load capacity, surface stability. This road fails every single requirement. He flips through his notes. The easement agreement clearly states the HOA is responsible for maintenance to county standards. They haven't done anything. Not in years. What happens now? I file a violation report. The easement holder, he checks his paperwork. Whisper Valley HOA receives official notice. They get 30 days to bring this into compliance. If they don't, we're authorized to suspend service until repairs are completed. Music to my ears. One more thing, I say carefully. The HOA has been demanding 24/7 access to my private gate for emergency purposes. But if my gate is supposedly an emergency access issue, doesn't this road's condition represent a much bigger emergency access problem for your maintenance crews? He looks at me. Understanding dawns in his eyes. A slight smile. That's a very good point. I'll include that in my report. Emergency access works both ways. He leaves. I stand there watching his truck disappear down the mountain. For the first time in 2 weeks, I feel something other than fear. I feel hope. 2 days later, Saturday morning, I'm having coffee when I hear tires on gravel. Angry tires. Fast. Range Rover. Margaret. She's at my gate 15 minutes after the certified mail carrier delivered her violation notice. Her face is purple with rage. I walk down slowly. Let her wait. Let her stew. What the hell did you do? She's screaming through the bars. Actually screaming. The composed mask is gone. Same thing you did, I say calmly. Filed a legitimate safety concern with the appropriate authorities. You can't cut our power. I'm not cutting anything. The power company is enforcing their easement agreement. You know, the one your HOA signed 20 years ago and then completely ignored. This is extortion. Spit flies from her mouth. This is illegal. No, Margaret. This is consequences. I step closer to the gate. Look her right in the eyes. You weaponized code enforcement against me. You filed false complaints. You sicked the news on me. You turned the entire community against me with lies. You tried to steal my property rights through legal intimidation. You're going to regret. I'm going to regret standing up for my legal rights. On my own property. Really. My voice stays level. Cold. You have 30 days to repair that road to county standards. Your responsibility. Your obligation. Your problem. Do you have any idea how much that costs? Not my problem. Should have maintained it like you agreed to 20 years ago. Her hands grip the gate bars. Knuckles white. You just made the biggest mistake of your life. We will bury you in legal fees. We will take everything. Try it. I've got documentation of every threat you've made. Every false complaint. Every harassment tactic. You tried to destroy me for exercising my property rights. Now you're facing the consequences of your own negligence. I can see it in her eyes. The calculation. The fear she's trying to hide behind rage. She's finally afraid. This isn't over, she hisses. Yes, it is. You just don't know it yet. She storms to her Range Rover. Slams the door hard enough to rock the suspension. Tears out of their spraying gravel. I stand at my gate, hands steady for the first time in weeks. The war isn't over. But the momentum just shifted. And Margaret just realized she's not fighting a victim anymore. She's fighting someone who knows how to fight back. Margaret doesn't waste time. The next HOA board meeting happens that weekend. I'm not invited. Of course not. But Sarah is there. 3 other neighbors sympathetic to my situation are there. They call me Sunday night. All of them. Their voices are shaken. Jake, it got ugly, Sarah says. Really ugly. My chest tightens. Tell me. Margaret convinced the board to file an emergency injunction against you. They're claiming you're sabotaging essential utilities, putting lives at risk. They hired some hotshot attorney from Denver. Big firm. Corporate litigation specialist. When? Tomorrow morning. She's going to the judge first thing. 9 a.m. I call Tom immediately. Sunday night. 11 p.m. He answers on the second ring. Tom, we have an emergency. He's at my house within an hour. We spread documents across my kitchen table. Work until 3 a.m. preparing our response. Counter-arguments. Evidence. Timeline of harassment. They're going to paint you as vindictive, Tom warns, rubbing his exhausted eyes. A bitter property owner weaponizing technicalities to harm innocent families. But we have the law. Law isn't always enough, Jake. Judges are human. They respond to narratives. We need to make sure the judge sees who really started this fight, who really weaponized the system first. Monday morning comes too fast. I shower, put on my only suit, feel like I'm dressing for my own execution. The courthouse steps feel endless. Margaret is already there with her attorney. Sharp suit, expensive briefcase, the kind of lawyer who bills $400 an hour. Margaret looks confident, triumphant, like she's already won. The hearing room is small. Wood paneling. American flag in the corner. Judge Morrison presiding. Older man. Stern face. Impossible to read. Margaret's attorney goes first. 40 minutes of polished presentation. PowerPoint slides. Photos of the dark houses. Testimony from HOA residents about hardship. Elderly people without power. Kids unable to do homework. Food spoiling. Financial losses. He makes me sound like a monster. A petty tyrant holding an entire community hostage over a property grudge. Then Tom stands. He's not as polished, not as smooth, but he's got something the other attorney doesn't. The truth. He presents the timeline. Margaret's demands before I ever contacted the power company. The harassment campaign. The false code violations. The destroyed wetlands. The news ambush. Every single weapon Margaret deployed first. Then he shows the utility easement agreement. The maintenance requirements the HOA ignored for 20 years. Your Honor, my client didn't create this situation. He responded to it. The HOA violated their legal obligation for 2 decades. When they decided to weaponize the system against Mr. Collins for refusing to surrender his property rights, he simply reported a legitimate safety violation to the appropriate authority. The judge leans back in his chair, studies both sides. The courtroom is silent except for the clock ticking on the wall. Mrs. Keene, Judge Morrison says slowly, did your HOA maintain that access road as required by the utility easement agreement? Margaret's attorney leans over, whispers something to her. Her face goes pale. We had discussed maintenance plans over the years. That's not what I asked. Did you maintain it? Yes or no? Silence. Suffocating silence. No, Your Honor. The judge makes a note. Looks at both attorneys. Emergency injunction denied. The power company is within their rights to enforce easement compliance. This court will not intervene in a legitimate regulatory action, especially when the party seeking relief is the party who created the underlying violation. The gavel falls. We won. Margaret's face crumbles. Her attorney whispers urgently in her ear. She's shaking her head. Denial. Disbelief. I walk out of that courtroom feeling lighter than I have in weeks. But Tom grabs my arm in the hallway. Don't celebrate yet. This isn't over. Desperate people do desperate things. He's right. I can see it in Margaret's eyes as she passes. Pure hatred. This war just entered a new phase. And I have no idea what she'll do next. Winning in court makes everything worse. The harassment escalates immediately. Daily now. Constant. HOA members drive past my house at all hours. Taking pictures. Video recording. Documenting everything. My truck. My property. Me working in the yard. Strangers park on the main road with binoculars. Watching. Always watching. Anonymous calls Flood County Services. False reports. Fabricated violations. Gas leak at my property. Fire department shows up. Finds nothing. Hazardous waste dumping. Environmental compliance investigates. Clears me. Illegal burning. Forestry Service comes out. No evidence. Every single accusation is investigated. Every investigation clears me. But each one costs time, stress, money for Tom to document the harassment pattern. I'm bleeding resources, emotional energy, sleep. The power company's 30-day deadline approaches. Day 15, day 20, day 25. Margaret's HOA has done nothing. Zero action on the road repairs. I know why. They're calling the bluff. Betting the power company won't actually cut electricity to 50 homes. Too much liability. Too much public outcry. But I know something Margaret doesn't. I've been talking to the power company inspector. Coffee meetings. Casual conversations. He's frustrated. My supervisor is tired of HOAs thinking they can ignore maintenance requirements. He tells me over coffee on day 26. This is a test case. Corporate is watching. If we back down, every HOA in the county will ignore their easement agreements. So if they don't comply, we shut it down. We have to. Otherwise, our entire compliance system means nothing. Day 28. I see Margaret at the road entrance, arguing with contractors. She's waving her hands. They're shaking their heads, pointing at documents, blueprints, cost estimates. Whatever they quoted her to fix the road properly, the HOA isn't willing to pay. Day 29. The tension is unbearable. I watch the development from my deck. Lights glowing in windows. Normal evening routines. Dinner. TV. Kids doing homework. None of them know what's coming. Day 30. Deadline day. I wake up at dawn. Can't eat breakfast. Can't focus on anything. Just wait. Morning passes. Afternoon comes. Golden hour paints the mountains in orange and pink. Then, at 6:47 p.m., I see it. Every light in the HOA development goes dark. Simultaneously, like someone flipped a switch on the entire mountain. The power company actually did it. 50 homes. No electricity. No heat. No refrigeration. No internet. No lights. In the gathering darkness, I can hear it starting. Car engines. Doors slamming. Confused voices carrying down the mountain. My phone explodes. Texts. Calls. But not to me. I hear about it through Sarah. Margaret's phone is melting down. Families calling. Demanding answers. Kids scared of the dark. Elderly neighbors with medical equipment. Home offices shut down. Food spoiling in refrigerators and freezers. The HOA was Margaret's kingdom. Her power base. Her platform. Now it's her prison. Emergency board meeting scheduled for tomorrow morning. 7 a.m. Crisis session. This time, I'm required to attend. The message is clear. Fix this, or we're coming for you. I stand on my deck as darkness swallows the valley. Only my house has power. My lights are the only lights visible for miles. The mountains are shadows. The lake is invisible. But I can feel the energy up there. Panic, anger, desperation. Tomorrow, everything changes. One way or another, this ends. I just hope I'm ready for what comes next. Tuesday morning, 7 a.m. I drive up the mountain to the community center. It's running on a generator. Loud. Smoky. Emergency lighting only. 50 angry faces turn toward me when I walk in. The air crackles with hostility. Sleep-deprived people. Cold showers. Spoiled food. Lost work. Chaos. This is your fault. Someone shouts before I even sit down. Man in his 40s. Red-faced. Pointing. Jake didn't do anything. Sarah stands up, defending me. He reported us to the power company because the HOA violated their maintenance agreement for 20 years. Sarah shoots back. This is Margaret's fault, not Jake's. The room explodes. Everyone shouting. Accusations flying. Years of tension erupting all at once. Margaret tries to restore order, banging a gavel, yelling for silence. But she's lost control. Her perfect kingdom is crumbling in real time, and everyone knows it. The contractor she consulted stands up. Older guy. Weathered face. He's holding a thick folder. I can fix the road, he says loudly. The room quiets. But it won't be cheap. How much? The treasurer asks. $47,000. That's for proper drainage system, professional grading, reinforced base, and county compliant surface. Anything less won't pass inspection, and you'll be right back here. Silence. Complete silence. You could hear a pin drop. The HOA doesn't have that in reserves, the treasurer says quietly. She's pale. Shaken. We need a special assessment. About $900 per household. The room erupts again. Families who just paid annual dues. Now being asked for nearly $1,000 more. Because of Margaret's vendetta. Her pride. Her war against me. There has to be another way. We could do a cheaper temporary fix. The power company won't accept temporary. This is insane. My mother's oxygen concentrator needs power. Everyone talking over each other. Panic. Desperation. Rage with nowhere to go. Margaret's hands are shaking. Sweat on her forehead despite the cool morning air. The composed mask is completely shattered. She looks at me. Really looks at me. For the first time, I see defeat in her eyes. What do you want? Her voice cracks. Tell me what you want, and this ends. The entire room goes silent. Everyone's staring at me. I could ask for anything. Total surrender. Public apology. Financial compensation for what she put me through. Complete and total victory. But revenge was never what I wanted. I want what I've always wanted, I say quietly. To be left alone on my property. To control my own gate. To not be harassed, sued, or threatened for exercising my legal rights. Margaret stares. That's it. That's it. You drop all legal action. You acknowledge in writing that my gate is my private property, not HOA jurisdiction. You stop the harassment campaign, the code enforcement complaints, the social media attacks, all of it. We go back to the original easement agreement. You use the road. I control the gate. Simple. And the road repairs? The treasurer asks carefully. You pay for them. It's your legal obligation. Always was. I've been maintaining that road for free for 20 years while you built luxury homes and collected dues. Time you handled your responsibilities. More silence. Then murmuring. People whispering to each other. Finally, Margaret nods. Defeated. Broken. Fine. We'll vote. The vote is unanimous. 27-0. Everyone exhausted. Everyone just wanting their power back. Their lives back. Their peace back. Margaret stays seated while people file out. She doesn't look at anyone. Just stares at the table. Her kingdom fell in 48 hours. All because she tried to take something that wasn't hers. The road repairs start the next day. Professional crew. Proper equipment. County inspector supervising. 2 weeks of construction. New drainage. Proper grading. Reinforced base. Quality surface. The power comes back after the first week when the road passes emergency access inspection. Life slowly returns to normal. But nothing will ever be quite the same. The construction crew finishes on schedule. The road is beautiful. Smooth pavement. Perfect drainage. Professional work. Everything it should have been 20 years ago. The power company inspector does a final walkthrough. Checks every measurement. Tests the surface. Verifies compliance. Passes inspection, he announces. Access road now meets all county standards for utility maintenance vehicles. The HOA paid $47,000. Special assessment. $900 per household. Every family in the development just learned an expensive lesson about what happens when you ignore legal obligations. Margaret resigns as HOA president 3 days after the road is finished. Quiet resignation. No announcement. Just gone. I hear through Sarah that she listed her house 2 weeks later. Sold it fast. Under market value. Took the loss just to get out. She moved back to the city. Some condo in Denver. Far from mountains and valleys and gates she can't control. I never see her again. The new HOA president is Sarah. The board votes unanimously. Someone who understands mountains. Respects property rights. Knows the history. First thing she does is draft a formal agreement. Legal document. Clear language. My gate is private property, not subject to HOA control. In exchange for my continued allowance of the road easement, the HOA agrees to maintain it properly and respect my property boundaries. Fair. Respectful. Legal. I sign it immediately. The harassment stops overnight. The Facebook attacks disappear. The code enforcement complaints vanish. The suspicious cars stop circling. Life returns to what it was. What it should have been. Quiet mornings. Coffee on the deck. Sunrise painting the mountains gold. Lake water reflecting the sky. Peace. But I learned something through all of this. Something important. Something I'll never forget. The biggest weapon isn't aggression. Isn't money. Isn't connections or lawyers or power. It's knowledge. Understanding your rights. Standing firm on legitimate ground. Margaret tried to use raw power to crush me. Intimidation. Legal threats. Social pressure. System manipulation. She had everything. Money. Lawyers. Community support. Media narrative. I had property rights and patience. And that was enough. Because she never understood that real power isn't about control. It's about standing firm when everyone's telling you to surrender. Some fights are worth having. Some hills are worth dying on. My property. My gate. My life. Those were worth fighting for. Late at night sometimes, I wonder what would have happened if I'd given in. Handed over the gate codes. Let her win that first day. I'd have lost everything. My property rights. My security. My peace. My home. It would have been the first surrender. Not the last. People like Margaret always want more. Give them an inch, they take the whole mountain. Standing firm was the only option. The only way to survive. 6 months later, I'm standing on my deck. Same view, same mountains, same lake. But everything feels different now. The morning mist rolls across the meadow like it always has. Slow, peaceful, natural. Pine trees sway in the breeze. The lake reflects clouds and sky like a mirror. A bald eagle circles over the water. Hunting. Majestic. This is still paradise. But now it's protected paradise. My gate is still my gate. The lock is strong. The fence is solid. Nobody questions my right to control my own property anymore. The HOA folks wave when they drive past. Some even stop to chat. We're not friends exactly, but we're not enemies. We're neighbors who learned a hard lesson about boundaries and respect. Sarah calls sometimes. HOA business. Property line questions. Easement clarifications. She runs it properly now. No overreach. No power games. Just people maintaining a community the right way. The road is beautiful. Professionally maintained now. Regular inspections. Proper drainage cleaning. Everything the agreement requires. It's the road it always should have been. Sometimes tourists stop at the scenic overlook on the main road. Take pictures of the valley, the green mountains, the crystal lake, the perfect mountain paradise. They don't know the war that was fought here. The battle over a gate and a road and property rights. They just see beauty. And that's how it should be. I think about Margaret sometimes. Wonder if she learned anything. Probably not. People like that usually don't. They just find new kingdoms to rule, new people to control, new fights to start. But that's not my problem anymore. My problem is deciding whether to have second or third cup of coffee while watching the sunrise. That's the kind of problem I like. The mountains glow in morning light, gold and pink and orange. The lake sparkles. Birds sing. Life continues. Simple, peaceful. Mine. This is my land. My life. My choice. And nobody, no HOA president, no lawyer, no angry mob, no county official, can take that away. Because I stood my ground when it mattered most. I fought smart instead of fighting angry. I used the law instead of breaking it. I documented everything. Stayed calm. Played the long game. And I won. Not just the battle. Not just the war. I won my freedom back. I proved that one person with rights and patience can stand against organized power and prevail. That's worth everything. Worth the stress, the sleepless nights, the fear, the cost, all of it. Because in the end, this is still mine. My gate stays locked. My choice. My right. And that's exactly how it should be. The seasons change up here in ways you don't notice until they've already happened. Summer fades to fall. The aspen trees turn gold. Elk migrate through the valley. Snow dusts the peaks. Life moves forward. I'm splitting firewood on a crisp October morning when a car pulls up. Out-of-state plates. Young couple. They look nervous. "Excuse me," the man calls. "We're thinking about buying property in the HOA development. Someone mentioned there was some kind of dispute with you." I lean on my axe. Consider how to answer. "There was," I say finally. "It's resolved now." What was it about? Property rights. Boundaries. Respect. They wait for more. I don't offer it. Is it a good community now?" the woman asks. I think about that. Really think about it. It's a community that learned some things the hard way, I tell them. About respecting people's property. About honoring agreements. About not weaponizing systems against your neighbors. Yeah, it's good now. Because everyone remembers what happens when it's not. They thank me and leave. I watch them drive up the mountain. New people. New chapter. The cycle continues. But the lessons remain. I finish splitting the wood. Stack it carefully. The rhythm is meditative. Swing. Split. Stack. Repeat. Tom stops by that afternoon. We have coffee on the deck. He brings news about another HOA dispute in the next county over. Someone else fighting for their property rights. "You started something," he says. "People heard about your case. They're standing up now. Fighting back against HOA overreach." "Good," I say. "They should." We sit in comfortable silence. Old friends. Battle-tested. "You know what you did, right?" Tom says eventually. "You showed people that the system can be beaten. That David can beat Goliath if David knows the law and refuses to back down." I just protected what was mine. That's more than most people do. Most people surrender. Give in. Let the bullies win because fighting is too hard, too expensive, too scary. He's right. I know he's right. This story, my story, matters because it proves something important. You can stand your ground. You can fight organized power. You can win. Not with anger. Not with violence. Not with revenge. With knowledge, patience, legitimate rights, and the refusal to surrender when you know you're right. The sun sets behind the mountains, purple and orange bleeding across the sky. The lake turns to liquid gold. My gate is locked. My property is secure. My life is mine. And I earned every bit of that peace. If you're watching this and you're in your own fight, against an HOA, against a bully, against someone trying to take what's yours, remember this. Know your rights. Document everything. Stay calm. Play the long game. The bullies bet on you giving up. Prove them wrong. Stand your ground. The land you're defending is worth it. This is Jake Collins. From my mountain. From my land. From my hard-won peace. Thanks for listening to my story. If this resonated with you, if you faced something similar, or if you just believe in property rights and standing up to bullies, do me a favor. Hit that like button and drop a comment below telling me where you're watching from and what your biggest takeaway was. I read every single comment. Your story might help someone else fighting their own battle. This community we're building here, it's people who refuse to surrender their rights. And that matters. So comment below. Share your location. Share your story. Let's build something bigger than just one mountain gate. Let's build a movement of people who refuse to back down.